welcome into the 143 UREV Nation. This is Under Review, coming at you live.
Episode 15. That's right. We are 15 in. This is number 15.
15 and counting, because we will never stop until we die.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we might not even stop then. You never know. Anyways, this is a fun episode we're looking forward to. We've got some basketball,
fun episodes.
Some football. We are kind of hyped because the Mavs just put on a show last night.
A clinic
in Dallas.
Night. Yes, sir.
Now, if we could
the
just
Big D.
take that energy into Game 6 against Utah, close out the series, and then, hey, we are Pelicans fans as well now because we need the Pels to beat the Suns.
And then the Mavs play the Pelicans, we'll be sitting pretty nice because, you know,
I like
that
those
Luka
odds.
Magic is on again.
I like those odds. But let's just jump right into it, shall we? Stat of the week, brought to you by Pin Woodworks. It's another shout out to old Sammy. Does a great job. Summer coming up, he'll have a lot more free time to wood burn things for y'all. Hopefully a free sign, under review sign for us as well. Sam, if you're listening.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. But our stat of the week is kind of what we're going to be talking about for our first segment today. It's the Brooklyn Nets, who started out the season favored to win the East. They were the favorites, heavy favorites, might I add, heavy favorites to win the East, and just got swept in 4 games by the Boston Celtics. So that's our stat of the week. Very pathetic out of Brooklyn. Brought to you by Penn Woodworks.
Our player of the week, we've touched on him a little bit. It's got to be Luka Doncic. Back in the series, all right? He missed the first 3 games. He came back for game 4, put up 30 points, 4 assists with 10 rebounds. Still lost by 1, and I don't really know.
That game was ridiculous.
How that happened.
We're not even going to talk about it.
But
we might.
Yeah, we will. He comes out game 5 and puts on an even bigger show at home in the Big D. 33 points, 5 assists, and 13 rebounds, and they caught the dub on that one.
Luka was amazing.
By a lot, might I add.
Game was over in the third quarter, like way over. Let me just give a shout out real quick to Mavs Nation, because y'all showed up last night at the AAC. It was a crazy hype atmosphere. We were very disappointed we weren't able to go, but we will be there for Game 7 if there is a Game 7.
There won't be a Game 7 because we're going to win in Utah.
That's true. That's a good point.
This upcoming Thursday.
Crazy atmosphere. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the big upset. It wasn't really an upset, but the big sweep by Boston.
That's the biggest thing right now, because obviously all the other playoff games are still going. So
because they're actually good teams playing.
Right. And so obviously this is the biggest one getting talked about right now because it's the Nets and they got swept, you know. And so there's KD and there's
I was about
Kyrie.
to ask you, what is your biggest disappointment?
Dude, it was definitely Kevin Durant. Like, he didn't show up.
Kevin Durant was terrible.
He didn't show up the first 3 games. Gotta hand it to him. He did do pretty well.
There's an argument to be made that he didn't show up for the 4th game.
He got 39 points, but that was off how many shots was
31.
That was 31 shots.
Which, by the way, for all of you listening that don't know, that's about, with the ratio of 3s and 2s he's putting up, that's about, with 31 shots, you can make 60 to 90 points if you make all of those. So he only got 39 points. Well, so that was not an efficient night for him.
He's supposed to be a sharpshooter, and he was only 3 for 11, for 3s, which kind of unacceptable.
Terrible.
Because he's supposed to be like one of the best shooters.
And he had wide open looks
of all time. Yeah,
wide open looks.
Absolutely.
They were easy makes. And then let's talk about the free throw that he missed towards the end of the game. He's automatic with free throws. He never misses from the line. He made the first one, missed the second one, could have put him down by 1. And honestly, that's a momentum killer when you miss a free throw like that in a clutch situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, I think KD and also Kyrie. I have zero respect for Kyrie.
I've never been a Kyrie fan.
He thinks the world revolves around him. He also thinks the world is flat.
I don't know what he thinks about the world revolving because he thinks the Earth is flat.
But he he honestly didn't show up in these games either. Um, it was terrible from their stars, and those are the nights that. So obviously he showed up in game 1. Kyrie had 39, KD at 23.
And they only lost by one.
Right.
The first game is the buzzer beater layup from Jason.
The Jason Tatum
like,
buzzer beater.
Spin move and
That was a pretty clean spin move. Yeah, not to discredit. Boston is amazing. Boston is a great defensive team. Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. Jason Tatum put on a defensive clinic against KD. He's a huge reason KD didn't have a lot. But the Nets just did not play like they were supposed to. And a big reason is Kyrie decided to sit the entire season and then just come in. So, like, you had no chemistry there because you hadn't played together.
Talk about Ben Simmons. You know, he was supposed to show up for the playoff series, and it was game 2. Oh, he'll be there game 3. Oh, he'll be there game 4.
Exactly.
You know, and then where was he? He was on the bench, looking like Willy Wonka, I might add. Looked like a fool.
He did look pretty interesting. I will give you that.
His purple and orange attire.
KD through 4 games had 21 turnovers.
He was a turnover machine.
And he's not normally like that. And there's a lot of argument to be made that he is the best player in the NBA right now, or there was until this series, and it's just not even close.
Well, because like the Celtics are a good team, but like I don't know how they'll do next round. Right?
I love Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown though. Like both of those guys are phenomenal. Jaylen Brown, come to Dallas.
And Marcus Smart, he's a Flower Mound boy from around. Well, I guess not these parts, but those parts from where I was from.
Our boy Jake Vassar has actually told us he is best friends with Marcus Smart.
Yes, as soon as Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, he hit up his boy Jake and was like, "Hey,
come celebrate." And Jake said that Marcus Smart asked him to be the best man in his wedding. And Jake declined.
Jake declined because he had bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, he's a very important
That's
man.
when we were recording our episode with him, and he was like, "I already have."
Actually, that was a really sweet moment for me when he told us that story.
Thank you so much, Jake.
That kind of made me tear up. But Marcus Smart is crazy on defense, and the Celtics are pretty stacked, but the Nets were supposed to be more stacked.
They were supposed to be star-studded.
Seth Curry. Sorry, Steph plays for the Warriors. Seth Curry, Gordon Dragic, and then
obviously Kyrie and KD, and then Ben Simmons was supposed to be a factor, but he was nowhere to be found all year, you know. And
one player that played, Bruce Brown on the Nets,
he kind of showed up,
had to carry his team.
I had no idea who that guy was until it was not until game 3 that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
this guy's kind of good.
He in game 2 scored 23. In game 3, he scored 26. And then in game 4, he scored... game 4, he scored 2.
Interesting.
Did not see that stat line. But, I mean, you can't put it on Bruce Brown. He's not your star.
Yeah,
like
you're
KD,
supposed to have like
Kyrie,
4 guys that are going to be 10 times better than him.
Seth was pretty consistent, too. Seth Curry. I mean, he's always been consistent. Why'd we ever let him go in Dallas?
Like,
that's the question.
I don't know.
We shouldn't have done that. But it was just an embarrassing series.
I enjoyed watching it.
For the Nets. I enjoyed it as well. Because, you know what's cool? All the LA teams and all the New York teams are now out. So all the big market teams are gone. And I guess the only really big I don't even know if you count this as a big market, but Golden State is still in because they're actually good.
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting playoffs
all those rich
so
teams,
far.
it looks like it's not working out for them.
Yeah, all the New York teams and LA teams. I'm so glad they're not in it.
Let's go, baby.
But
hey, cue the big D. All right, we are on the rise.
Dallas, I see a trophy in our near future.
In our near future, yes. I feel like that could be a segue into.
Yeah, let's just talk about Dallas real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
So game 4. Or let's just say, okay, so the Mavs were doing great without Luka. They won 2 straight.
Jalen Brunson showed up and scored.
Jalen Brunson was phenomenal. He still is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's still been doing good. He's been double digits. I think he's been 20 plus every game.
Game 4, Luka comes back. I did not have a problem with that. I don't know why people are.
They're like
having a
saying
problem
it messed up the dynamic. I don't really think
it
did anything because
you don't sit your star on the bench.
Jalen Brunson still scored like 23, I think, that game, and then obviously Luka came in and put up 30 10 rebounds. So,
it doesn't mess the rhythm up. You know why?
Because he's a star player.
On the Mavs, he is the rhythm. Like, that's
what are you
how it
talking
works.
about?
We got lucky to squeak 2 wins out without him. Like, we played great, don't get me wrong. But we're not going to have phenomenal shooting nights like that. So Game 4 was a very close game. Coming down to the end, Luka hit a clutch shot. I thought it was game over
when it was
at that
90.
point.
Yeah, whenever we hit 99.
99 to 96, I thought it was over.
Like, game over. I was like, that's
and then our boy, our friend, our just amazing dude, Dwight Powell, goes to the line to shoot 2 free throws to go up 3.
Here, Dwight. I gift you the opportunity to win the game.
Need him to make one. Just one free throw. You would think as an NBA player, he gets paid millions of dollars a year.
Also, with how the game is played today, I mean, everyone can
shoot.
Everyone should be able to make a free throw because that's where half your points come from is the free throw line.
So does he make 2?
No.
Does he make 1?
No, he does not.
He makes 0.
He makes none.
And then Donovan Mitchell to Rudy Gobert for the easy alley-oop. And also, can I just take a side note to say, when Gobert dunks, it's not impressive, people. Guys, he's 8 feet tall. Okay?
His arms are like
he's like 7'1".
over the basket whenever he jumps, okay? Like,
he's like Boban.
I'm expecting him to throw it down, right?
That's all he does. That's all he can do is throw it down.
I feel like at that point, we should have tried to foul him before the dunk so that way he has to earn each
2 points.
Single point rather than he's just getting those 2 points for
that
free.
wasn't impressive at all from Utah, and it's not impressive the 25 gazillion times they do it a game. But and also, side note, Utah gets every call. I just want to say that. Donovan Mitchell,
Rudy Gobert, he's always on that free throw line, and
the refs love to give them fouls. Now, we have 11 seconds left in Game 4. We have the ball down by 1.
I thought we had
ideal
plenty
situation.
Of time
ideal
to
situation.
Drive down, get a play going, set our guys up, and take an easy – because at that point, we don't have to take a 3 because we're only down by 1, right? And then for some reason, this is like the one little like black mark I have on Luka. He just dribbles the clock out for like 7 seconds, and then the play starts with 4 seconds left. Jalen Brunson dives in, passes it out to Spencer Dinwiddie. He tries to shoot it over Rudy Gobert, and he misses.
You can't shoot it over Rudy Gobert because he, like I said, 7'1" with a wingspan.
Exactly.
I mean,
it was like
it was a terribly drawn up.
We were talking about it was like the same thing we did to beat the Nets, but except the only difference was you have a giant that you have to shoot it over Rudy Gobert.
Game 4 was very depressing, but Game 5 we came back last night and just obliterated Utah. Like, we took their life from them, and we were up by 25. I don't remember the exact score.
What we've been good at this whole series against the Jazz is getting the ball to the open man behind the arc.
The ball movement has been really great.
The games where we lose, it's just because we're not hitting those shots. Last night, we were hitting those shots like nobody's business. My boy Reggie Bullock was absolutely surgical. Luka was on. Jalen Brunson was on. And if we can bring that energy, that connection back into Game 6, we will for sure be sending those Jazz home.
This series does not need to come back to Dallas. It can be
I don't
over
want it to. I would love a home win.
It can be over on Thursday night.
I was hoping that this past night would have been the home win because we would have.
We have the momentum, and Donovan Mitchell's being a baby and saying he's hurt now. So I would just love to end the series in Utah.
Trying to pull that LeBron thing where it's like, oh, I didn't lose. What are you talking about?
I was hurt.
I wasn't there at the end.
I was playing through injury.
What do you mean? I was on the bench.
It's ridiculous. I've actually now grown to despise Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley, because he's a little baby when it comes to driving in and wanting a foul call every single time. I used to have respect for him, but I've lost it.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It is pretty tough.
That's why basketball is kind of frustrating sometimes, just the amount of fouls that are called.
That's why they get complained on and roasted so much, is because of like all the flops and like the stupid fouls. You know,
where they can't really flop in? Football.
Exactly.
Which I think segues perfectly into our next topic.
Indeed.
Go Mavs, by the way. We're rooting hard for them. I'm sure we'll be talking about them next week, too.
We'll be talking about them for a long time.
Deebo Samuel has recently demanded a trade from the San Francisco 49ers.
This is by far the biggest, I don't know about the biggest NFL story, but it is the biggest NFL story right now.
It is definitely the biggest. It's bigger than the draft for sure, because the draft is going to be boring this year.
Because it's just a bunch of DNs and D linemen in the first round.
Congrats to them, though, for getting drafted. That'll be us in a few years. Anyways, Deebo, wants out of San Fran because he's tired of being a Swiss Army knife. He's a wide receiver and he wants to stay one. They keep trying to use him as a running back. I never really understood that either. So he's like, I want to go to a team. First of all, he wants to make, obviously the money is an issue because he's on a rookie deal. But he wants to go make money and he wants to go be a wide receiver, which is his position. And obviously Dallas isn't on the list of places that would trade for him because Dallas is, like we've said, Dallas is stupid. They're not smart. I meant not smart, by the way. Anyways, we obviously aren't on that list. I think the Packers, Chiefs, Saints, and possibly, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe the Ravens are on the list for him of places that would trade for him. But Nick, where do you think, other than the Cowboys, where do you think Deebo would be a pretty good fit in?
So obviously you said other than the Cowboys, but I'm just gonna bring it up because as a Cowboys
I would
fan,
expect nothing
you
less.
have to say it every
You do.
time, right? Obviously, if we were smart, keyword, if. That's big if. If we were smart, we would go after him because I'm not really content with the receiving core that we have right now, but
No one should be.
unfortunately, I think these are the 4 guys that we're going to be looking at this season. But I guess let's go back to your question of where do I think Deebo would be a good fit? I think Deebo would be best fit. Okay, obviously I'm not going to go Green Bay because
Right.
I
Aaron needs
refuse
to be
to
punished.
give him any credit at all. Whenever Devontae left, I absolutely loved it because that means that he's losing weapons, right?
His
And
only
then-
weapon.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to see him go to the Ravens. They're just kind of an electric team to watch because Mark Andrews is a beast, Lamar Jackson is a beast, and I mean, maybe you could give Lamar a weapon back there, someone to chunk it up to.
At least one.
Oh yeah, because
He has Mark Andrews, and that's pretty much
yeah,
it.
his only weapon that he can throw to is Mark Andrews.
Who probably runs like a 5'6", 40.
Spilled my beverage. Anyways, so I think it would be cool to see him play for the Ravens. Obviously, coolest would be the Cowboys, but that's not going to happen.
I would love to see him in Kansas City because the AFC West is so loaded that if you add Deebo to the AFC West to the Chiefs, who we were talking about earlier on that episode where you were roasting me for picking the Dolphins to win the AFC East because they
And I stand
will.
by it.
They will
I
win the
stand by
AFC
it.
East.
No,
But
they won't. They're not even going to get second.
dude, I'm not about to go into this with
They
you.
will
I'm not
pick
about
up
to.
a
We're
nice
not about to do this. Can I
3.
get back to talking about Deebo, please?
Congratulations, you beat the Jets out.
Deebo Samuel should go to the Kansas
You're the
City.
okay. You said can we not go back to this? But you're the one that brought it up. So.
I didn't bring it up so you would argue with it. I just was flashing back for a second in my mind. Am I not allowed to remember stuff?
They can just consciously flash back themselves, okay? Because they listened to the episode, so they know.
Deebo Samuel should go to the Kansas City Chiefs because the AFC West is loaded, and adding Deebo to the Chiefs, which obviously we were talking about, Tyreek left.
And
They need a receiver.
yeah, I was about to say
They
Patty
really
Mahomes
need a
needs
receiver.
another weapon.
They have Juju
They
Smith-Schuster.
have and Travis
Valdez
Kelce, but
Scantling.
you can't rely on your tight end as your only receiving weapon.
That's what
right?
Lamar does, and it hasn't been working
Yeah,
out.
and it does not work.
So I would say I'd like to see him
It
on
would
the
be
Chiefs.
kind of electric if he went to the Chiefs. I'm
Because
not gonna
Patty
lie to you.
Mahomes and Deebo, that's just
Yes.
crazy talent
Because
that you're putting
watching
together.
Deebo's fun enough as it is because he catches the ball as a receiver, but as soon as he catches it, he turns into a running back.
Right.
He just breaks tackles left and right. He's running over dudes. People were comparing him to how T.O. used to play back in the day because T.O. was the same way. He was a good route runner and receiver, but as soon as he caught the ball, he basically turned into a running back. So obviously electric.
Yeah, he's been getting better every season. It's just, and he became such a role player in San Francisco's offense, but San Francisco has Shanahan as the coach, Kyle Shanahan, and he's a very system-oriented guy. Whereas in Kansas City, you're looking at a very individual kind of coach where Andy Reid, Patty Mahomes, just take it. But Kyle Shannon's like, no, we need to do this play. This is my system.
Because he
play
understands
like this.
that Patty Mahomes has the IQ, and that's why he's one of the best quarterbacks, is because he like understands scenarios and situations so he can adjust to that.
I would
right?
say Shanahan's more like Belichick in the way that he doesn't care about the talent as much as the system. But Andy Reid understands that you need talent to win.
But see,
It's not just the
Bill
system.
Belichick is different because he figured out a way to win, and it worked for him.
We also had Brady.
Right, so he won a lot of Super Bowls doing that, but obviously for Kyle Shanahan, not the same.
No, it's not at all. And also Belichick had Brady. And we don't have to have this talk right now, but Belichick can pretty much attribute most of his Super Bowls, if not all of them,
Obviously,
to Brady.
you don't have Brady without Belichick, I don't think, but like it's because
I say it was more Brady.
Well, yeah, but
That's me.
I feel like it was what's the word I'm looking for? Not the connection. It was the bringing together of them both at that particular time was like, I don't know, what made it so special.
The union.
The union. That's not what I was looking
I know.
for.
It's
That
not
works
really
better. Yeah, obviously.
The joining.
That's not what we're talking about now.
No, it's not. But Deebo should go to Kansas City, and he'd probably be a better running back than whoever they have right now. Not going to lie, Kansas
Clyde
City
Edwards-Helaire.
struggles at running back.
Yeah.
Because they're such a pass-catching oriented offense anyways.
Well, they don't need, yeah, I was going to say they don't really need a running back.
You know, I will say, though, Deebo going to Dallas would be phenomenal. I know we're not going to do it, but if you think about it, it would just make the most sense because we don't have an actual number one receiver right now. And then if Deebo is to come in, you move Gallup back to number 2, CD back to slot where he belongs, James Washington as your other one.
Can do whatever. I really don't care. He can sit
And
the bench.
then you have that number 1 like we had in Amari. It'd be like 119 for another 19. But I would argue Debo's better than Amari.
Oh, I think Deebo. Oh, Deebo's absolutely better.
Debo's the reason we're not in the we didn't stay. Well, I mean, not the only reason, but like he's kind of what killed us in the playoff game. And I just think it would be a tremendous fit in Dallas. Like that's not even biased, just from a football perspective and a little bit biased. I think he would be a tremendous fit in Dallas. Jerry, I know you listen to every single one of our shows.
Be a tremendous fit,
Please
obviously.
sign Deebo. We will send you a signed under review hat for free if you sign Deebo Samuel.
And then, I forgot about this. Now that we're talking about it, was it the owner of the 49ers that was like, I don't see
GM.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, GM. He's like, I don't see a future without Deebo, and it's like, well,
Deebo already said
gonna happen,
Deebo already
so-
said he's not playing if he doesn't get another deal.
I understand that you don't see a future without Deebo, but
Deebo sees a
I
future
guess
without
you'll
y'all.
be blind in the future.
Interesting take, Nick.
Yeah.
Interesting take. Can I just go completely off topic here real quick? Nick is wearing a very clean Corey Seager baby blue jersey.
Oh yeah,
Texas
baby.
Ranger jersey.
This thing is
And
nice and crisp.
it is really clean. Clean meaning cool. For
Clean
those
as
of
in
y'all that
wicked.
don't know what that means.
Yes.
But I'm gonna get myself one as well
Oh yes,
in the future.
This thing is hot.
I agree. Corey Seager, if you're listening, please do better.
Feel free to come on the show. Hey, they did good yesterday,
He didn't.
Monday. I mean,
he was 2 for 4. I don't know. I just want more bombs
They
from
won.
him.
hey, we're on the right track. Okay, we
We're
took
on
the
the right
first
track.
game of the series, and they're playing game 2 tonight.
Overall, though,
Against the
Nets were a disappointment, and Mavs are doing amazing. And Deebo Samuel needs to go to the Cowboys, and that sums up the show right there.
Exactly. Yes.
But we've had a great time talking to
When
y'all
we
about
talk
what's
to
been
y'all
going on
next
this week.
we will be talking about how the Mavs are going to be needing to prepare for the Pelicans because
Exactly.
that's what's going to happen.
That is exactly
right.
what's going to
The
happen.
Pelicans are going to win because Devin Booker is out.
And Brandon Ingram is on fire.
The Mavs are going to win because we're
Goated.
cold, and Luka is a spitting image of Dirk Nowitzki. Like there were 2 or 3 shots that he took yesterday that I was like, that looks exactly like
Well,
the Dirty Dirk.
he's like Dirk, but more athletic.
I would say so.
Because
yeah.
well, also because in this game you have to be a little bit
Because
more
the
athletic
one
than
thing
it
that
was in
made
Dirk's.
Dirk so lethal was the one-legged fadeaway. Like
Luka hits those
he made
a
it
lot.
every time, and it was physically impossible to defend. But like Luka can do that and more. He's
And
low-key,
everything else.
He's
Everything
low-key
else.
like an assist machine too.
Yes.
Like
Well, because he
weird
draws so
passes,
much
you know?
attention. He draws so much attention too that leaves.
'Cause you
That's why
have to
guys are
put-
open.
You have to put multiple guys on.
We've had more open shots since he got back because they have to defend him more.
Well, and if you put him and Jalen Brunson, like they had to worry about Jalen Brunson on his own, but now if you put Luka back onto the court, then you have both of those guys. I feel like that's just creating more opportunities for everyone else.
We're sitting pretty. We just need to make sure we keep rolling.
Just
playing
keep the
defense
momentum
like we're
going.
doing.
All right, well, here's we like to end our shows on Under Review. I bring to you a quote from the Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk.
So, obviously, in light of talking about Dirk, I thought it would be appropriate to bring you a quote by Dirk.
I agree.
Those who endure conquer. That was by the Dirty Dirk.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Dirk is a legend and will always be a legend. The legend
Absolutely.
himself. Thank y'all for coming on the show, for hearing about this interesting sports news this week. We look forward to next week when we bring you news of the Mavs moving on to the next round, playing the Pelicans.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great week.
We will see you next week.